Today, we're going to dive into one of the most complete and frankly influential visions of human purpose ever put together. It's a roadmap for existence, all mapped out by the brilliant medieval philosopher and theologian Thomas Aquinas. It's a question that just echoes through all of human history, right? It's at the core of pretty much every philosophy, every religion. What are we actually for? Why are we even here? And where are we headed? It's a question we just can't seem to shake. Well, back in the 13th century, Thomas Aquinas didn't just think about this question. He built an entire systematic universe around his answer. He literally mapped out humanity's journey from its very first breath all the way to its final eternal destiny. So let's explore how he did it. For Aquinas, the whole story, the entire quest for human purpose, it doesn't start with our actions or even what we believe. Nope, it starts with the very nature of what we are. It all begins with understanding the human soul. What's so wild about Aquinas' view here is that the soul isn't some ghost floating around in a machine. For him, it's the form of the body. It's what makes you you. But here's the crucial part. It's also intellectual. He argued that, hey, since our minds can grasp these huge, universal ideas like justice or truth, things you can't touch or see, our intellect has to be independent of our physical body. And that means the soul can exist all on its own. It's subsistent. And if it isn't physical, well, it can't decay, can it? That makes it immortal. So if the soul is this immortal, intellectual thing, what's its prime directive? Simple. It desires to know. Aquinas says this is our most basic fundamental drive. You see an effect, you instantly want to know the cause. And that chain of why just doesn't stop until you get to the first cause of everything. The soul, he says, has this deep, unquenchable thirst to know God, and not just about God, but to know his very essence. And there's a name for the state where that deep thirst is finally totally quenched. It's called Beatitude. Now, this isn't just about feeling good or being cheerful. This is the ultimate, perfect, and complete happiness that our soul was literally designed to achieve. It's the finish line. See, for Aquinas, real happiness isn't a passive feeling you just sit back and enjoy. It's an activity. It's the highest possible activity our intellectual soul can perform. And this ultimate state, this beatitude, is achieved through what he calls the beatific vision, the direct, unfiltered intellectual sight of God's essence. This is the soul firing on all cylinders, fulfilling its absolute potential. But here's the thing. This journey toward beatitude, it isn't a sure thing. Every single life eventually reaches this incredible, dramatic climax, a moment of accounting where its entire trajectory gets locked in for eternity. This is the final judgment. Aquinas imagines the final judgment as this massive, orderly, and very public event. We're talking all of humanity, from the beginning of time to the end, all gathered together. Christ appears, but not as the humble figure from the Gospels. He's in his glorified divine form as the judge. And then the books are opened, so to speak. And this right here is a key point. Radical transparency. There are zero secrets. Every good deed you ever did, every hidden sin, the full, complete story of every single life is laid bare for everyone to see. And the point isn't to shame people. It's to make God's final justice perfectly, undeniably, and crystal clear to everyone present. And from that judgment, only two paths emerge. Two permanent, eternal destinations for every soul. Okay, so the first outcome is heaven. You can think of this as the successful completion of the soul's quest. The soul finally achieves the one thing it was made for. It gets the beatific vision, it sees God directly, and in that act, it finds its perfect and never-ending fulfillment. Mission accomplished. The logic Aquinas uses here is just so powerful. The joy of heaven isn't some arbitrary prize, like a gold star. He argues that because God is goodness itself, to see his essence is to experience a joy that's absolute and overwhelming. It's not a reward for the vision. It's a necessary consequence of the vision. And then there's the second outcome, hell. For Aquinas, hell isn't just a place of fire and punishment. It's best understood as the ultimate tragedy. It's the state of a soul that was created with an infinite desire for God, but is now eternally, hopelessly frustrated in that one core desire. It's a forever unresolved tension. This really lays out the contrast, doesn't it? While hell does involve suffering what he calls corporeal pain, its number one torment is the pain of loss. It's the constant, eternal awareness of being cut off from the one thing the soul was built to see, the only thing that could ever bring it true rest. It is, quite simply, the ultimate failure of the quest. Okay, now Aquinas says something here that is, let's just say, really challenging for modern ears. He argues that the blessed will see the suffering of the damned. And whoa, that sounds awful, right? But he says it's not out of cruelty. It's so they can more fully grasp the incredible grace they've received and the perfection of God's justice. It's a stark, logical conclusion that really shows you the unblinking, systematic way his mind worked. So why has this incredibly detailed and, yeah, at times severe vision of our destiny been so influential for literally centuries? What's the secret sauce? Well, it's because Aquinas gave people a complete map of meaning. He took the messy, chaotic experience of human life and framed it as a purposeful quest with a clear beginning, a middle, and a very clear end. Suddenly, everything you do matters, because it either moves you closer to or further from your final goal. Good and evil aren't just arbitrary rules, they're defined by what helps or hinders you on your journey to that beatific vision. And these ideas were potent because they were immediately controversial. I mean, just 3 years after he died, some of his core teachings were officially condemned by church authorities in Paris and Oxford. This was not some dusty old philosophy. This was radical stuff that forced everyone to rethink, well, everything. At the end of the day, the real power of Aquinas' vision is this. In his world, there are no meaningless lives. Every single human life is an epic story, a grand quest with a defined purpose and a conclusion that carries earth-shattering, eternal consequences. Which, of course, leaves us with a really fascinating question to chew on. Aquinas was absolutely certain that the soul's ultimate end was seeing God. And that just begs the question for us, today. If we take that away, what, if anything, have we replaced it with? What is the ultimate end that we're all chasing now?